Welcome to Living Martial Arts with Master Ray Gale, aka the Dark Master. Living Martial Arts discuss and examines the everyday exercise, philosophy, and lifestyle of the martial arts enthusiast. The host talks about his own training, past and present, and he also interviews many martial artists to discover how they continue to live their own martial arts journey. Tune in for top tips on how to get the best out of your martial art. Or perhaps you're thinking of starting a martial art. This podcast offers you an easy way to dip your toe in. Sign up for the newsletter at livingmartialarts.com and get regular updates and training tips direct to your inbox. Follow the Dark Master on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at Living Martial Arts.
Hi, and hello to the Living Martial Arts podcast with me, the Dark Master, back again with another martial arts guest who is, again, a friend of a friend. We're both acquaintances of Mr. Alfie Lewis, and he sort of put me on to Lee Kwende. So nice to meet you, Lee. How you doing?
I basically well, thank you very much.
Good.
I'm glad to be kind of like offering across some of my a bit of my history.
Yeah, brilliant. No, that's really good, and thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure everybody does these podcasts. They think, oh, I haven't got much to say, or I'm not sure if people will be interested, but they really are. People love it, and they love listening to different stories about how people got started. So, you know, without further ado, we'll give you the same question. Really, you know, tell us a bit about how you started your martial arts and a little bit about your journey.
Well, like most people, I'm of a certain age. I'm like in my 60s now. So my martial arts kind of like introduction was all the things like Bruce Lee, all like the Chinese films and stuff like that, going and watching them, getting really excited watching them, and then wanting to be a part of something like that. So my instructor, he actually lived 2 doors away from me. So
wow.
He was saying, "Oh, I'm going to be opening up a club soon," and I just tormented him, terrorized him, and said, "You know, when is it opening? When is it opening?" And it did eventually open. I don't know if you ever heard of the Liverpool Shaolin.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
That was where it was, and the head instructor obviously was old Sensei Ronnie Caldwell.
Yeah.
And I joined there when I was actually 14.
Right.
I snuck in, and that was, I think, 1974.
Yeah.
Just before my 15th birthday. And that was like kind of like the start of it. It was Shotokan karate, what he done or what we was being taught. But when we first started, it wasn't just karate. We was taught 1 hour karate by a gentleman from the KGB called Frank Vernon.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if you ever.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Frank used to teach us the first hour, and it was pure Shotokan. And then Ron used to come and teach us the second hour, which was a jiu-jitsu stroke kempo.
Okay.
So it's kind of like when we first started, it really was a big mix.
Yeah. That was a mix. That
was the start of my martial arts journey. Since then, it's took me in so many different places.
Yeah. Well, it's even that is quite interesting because I don't think many people have an introduction to martial arts where they're learning a number of different martial arts at one time. I mean, I started very much the same about 75 with Shotokan, and that was as much as I could handle really at the time. So how did you find that? Was it confusing?
It wasn't confusing because there was nothing to kind of like to grab onto. You had no template.
Yeah,
you was like a blank slate.
Yeah.
When you was doing at the time, I didn't think anything like, oh, I'm doing Shotokan, I'm doing one style, and then I'm doing another style. For me, I was just thinking, I'm doing martial arts. And I was just loving all of that type of thing. But I was like the youngest person in there because all the rest was all like grown men.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, often, particularly people that started in the 60s, 70s that I've spoken to, they all, and myself included, we all sort of talk about the different regime, how tough it was
Mm.
for younger people, and the fact that the classes now are obviously a bit more relaxed. We got younger children in there, but how did you cope with that?
It's a case of either sink or swim, really, wasn't it? You
Mm,
either cope with it or you hit the road. But I think as well, um, like that era, we was the kind of like the second generation of like where the Japanese wave came in. You know,
mm,
you like KGB and people like that, say like Tiki Donovan's,
yeah,
Terry O'Neill's, the Bob Points, all of them type of KGB, all of them type of people. They was like first generation, and we was the generation that came after that.
yeah,
But
yeah,
was heavy contact. You know, that was expected. You was expected to feel pain,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and that
definitely.
that was the norm. Every day, every time you went into a session, you was being hit.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I think that was kind of like the Japanese regime anyway. There was quite there was brutal.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I think that sort of it tended to go across the board, didn't it? And that's that seemed to be the. I mean, it seems surprising now when I talk to people about that, but it was certainly the norm then. That's you went to martial arts and you were going to be you're going to see blood at some time. There's going to be some bruises.
Oh, arms twisted. Yeah, there was, not just like bruising. Sometimes like there was like breakages, tooth lost, and that's just like in your training session.
Mm.
When
Yeah,
you enter competition, poor that was kind of like it could be really tough because there was some big powerful men who could hit exceptionally hard and fast.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it was and once again, I mean, I don't know about you. When I started competing, there was no weight categories. We had belt categories, and you went in a different belt. I don't know if that was the same. Your experience was that the
Yeah,
same?
exactly the same thing. You had like color belts and then black and brown, and that's the way it was. There was just a senior section
Mm,
where it was categorized in um, up to purple and white. Well, that was like for karate. I don't know any other styles.
yeah,
Um, then beyond that, when you went like black and brown, that was how it went. There was like no weight categories or nothing like that. It wasn't even really age categories. Age categories just was like senior, junior. That was it.
yeah, 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 yeah. That was very similar to my experience. And being quite, I was quite light at the time. I was sort of like 8.5, 9 stone sort of thing. And I remember my first tournament, I had my ribs broken by a big guy who punched me. And I've probably said this before on the podcast. A number of people have heard this, but I remember going home saying to my mum, and she said, "Oh, you're hurt. What happened?" I said, "Oh," and she said, "You're not going to do it again, are you?" I said, "Yes." I loved it.
That's like standard, really, isn't it? You did just get kind of like thrown in there, and sometimes stuff because I wasn't a big guy myself. I think I was only myself around about like 10 stone, something like that. And then some of the people he was like fighting against was like 6 foot plus 18 stone and things, and they were the ones that they used to throw the team. They used to throw me into there because I was fast and light.
Yeah, yeah,
I think I was just looking to avoid it
yeah.
myself, on the joking side.
Yeah, I've said before that when I started martial arts, it was really well, not strange so much, but a lot of top martial artists at the time were in the Midlands, but also I mean Liverpool had a huge amount of top martial artists.
There's quite a lot of strong fighters down in the northwest.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
The Red Crown, they tended to be the ones who churn them out.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know whether it was because I mean, if you look at say Taekwondo was spread in the UK. There was. I mean, my instructor was in the RAF. There was quite a lot of RAF people
Mm,
at the
It's a
time.
military base, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if that was the case with the guys in Liverpool. Were they military guys or?
I don't think that happened as much like within Liverpool. I think it was it was the Shotokan people who arrived there in the early 60s. Like people, yeah, like a Noida.
Mm.
I think he was the head of the KGB.
Yeah.
At that particular time, and it was kind of like it was Shotokan based, very strong with that. We had one or two Wadaroo schools, but not that many. They, like you say, they tended to be more within the Midlands and London or further south.
Yeah, yeah.
You had like Kung Fu.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Different things like well, going on from that, what sort of you obviously started training, up to the belt system. How did you progress? Did you go up to your first degree there or first dan, or did you go and do something else?
No, as right the way through. Mine was that with the Shaolin or with Tager Street, Liverpool Shaolin Karate Club. But it was up to 7th dan, which is where I am now. But
Yeah.
when I mostly was grade, my first grade was with first and second grade was with Frank. It was Frank Brennan who took that.
Oh, Frank Brennan, yeah. He was really big in the magazines as well at that time.
Not Brennan, no, Frank Vernon.
Oh, Frank Fernan, sorry, Frank Fernan.
Frank Brennan. I used to go to school with him.
Oh, did you?
He was in the same school, St. Martin's.
Yeah, I used to see a lot of him in the martial arts magazine.
He is, Frank is an exceptionally strong martial artist. The only thing that I think that stopped Frank is that he never went onto an open circuit.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Stayed within like his people. It would have been brilliant to see him on an open circuit to really test himself.
Yeah.
There was no doubt in his quality as a martial artist.
Yeah, no, he was very good. I remember a lot of those names. Frank Brennan was one of them who seemed to be quite prominent at that time.
Sorry, but Frank Vernon, he was like within in the classes of like Terry O'Neill.
Okay,
Frank was in that era.
Yeah.
First generation.
Yeah, definitely.
By my first two martial arts grades, or like, well, did he? No, I think he took me up to my 7th Q. So he took me for me 9th, 8th, and 7th Qs.
Yeah.
That it was old Sensei Caldwell or Ronnie Caldwell who took up after that. And I think what that was is when the Shaolin was first open, Frank and Ronnie worked together to help Ronnie bed in.
Yeah.
The club itself. And then once it was bedded in, then Frank went off and did his own thing. And then Ronnie it was just mostly Ronnie doing all the teaching then.
Yeah. Did you have much dealings with Terry O'Neill?
Terry, occasionally. I mean, I'm very familiar with Terry. I'm also as well one of his students. God rest his soul. I was quite friendly with him. But Terry every so often used to come down and do sessions with us. But I never really went into his dojo. What was it called? I can't. The name escapes me at this particular moment. But I never went into it. There, he came and trained with us. We did something, not videoing, but like photographs. I got some really good photographs where he done when we was like a weapons training.
Yeah.
We do weapons sessions, and also as well, he come down one time when we did our club championship. He was like the guest referee. So there's a lot of photographs for that.
Yeah. He was quite.
It's probably the best way to describe Terry.
Sorry, say again.
Terry was a beast.
Yes, he was. Yeah. I think he had that. His reputation came all the way down south of those days.
It was. His legs was exceptional, and but not just on the mat. He could do it
Mm.
in places without like saying too much.
Mm.
You know, he could. The gentleman could fight. He had like a true warrior spirit.
Yeah, yeah. He was. I sort of remember seeing him in again some of the magazines, and you always seen him. He was always sort of with his top off, and he always had a really good, strong physique.
Well, he spent a lot of time with Arnold, didn't he?
Yes, yes, that's what I hear. Yeah,
That's kind of like where that rubbed off on him.
yeah,
Because naturally, I mean, he wasn't even like in his earlier years. He still, I think, he did bits of weight training because I got some early footage of the KGB training. You know, like for whichever championships he was going for with Terry, and he was always in fairly good shape.
yeah, yeah.
Then when you came to like what was that, like the early 80s, then everybody sort of kind of like seen like bodybuilding came on the scene. That was more topical, wasn't it? Like
Yes.
everybody wanted to be like the next Arnold or Rambo
Yeah,
or Jean-Claude Van Damme. You know, it was that type of thing. The physique was more important, it seemed, than the technique.
yeah, yeah. But
Anyway,
it really was, because I sort of remember, and I've got some myself. You know, we were all sort of young lads, and we were trying to bulk up, and we took a few photographs, you know, with our tops off and doing kicks and punches, and you know, we saw these guys in the magazines do it. So yeah, we'll do that.
well, that's the thing, isn't it? You kind of like you're expressing yourself, you're showing yourself, you feel strong, you feel good. You know, you're doing all of your training and stuff like that, and you want the whole world to see it. You want everybody to see, like, yeah. Check me out.
Yeah, definitely. So you know, you mentioned. I mean, we talked a few minutes off air, and you mentioned that obviously you went for a period, and you had a bit of a break from martial arts. So you know, you obviously came back to it. What I mean, yeah, what was, why did you break, or why did you come back?
Okay, the reason why I kind of like I stepped away from martial arts really was because I picked up a knee injury, I severed my medial ligaments.
Okay, yeah,
At the same time that happened, the club, like the Shaolin where we was, that closed down. So it
right.
was like that's kind of like two critical events at once. You know, at the time, I think I was only in my early 20s. I think I only been about like 24 tops. So that was what 86. I think that no 85. I think that was.
Yeah.
On my license because it actually I got the injury at the same time as my last session, which was like for me third down for this. So where was I now? Yeah, that I didn't know enough about what that this injury was, you know, because I didn't understand like the role that ligaments play, and especially your knee ligaments, because I was like kicking was I suppose was my best thing, and it was my support leg. So you know yourself, if you push off really fast, it's not the muscles and things. It's like the power goes through to them ligaments. They're the thing that hold it in place, and then the muscle does its work.
Yeah.
When that severed out, I didn't know I was having. I thought, oh yeah, it's just going to grow back. Not knowing enough about anatomy or physiology because I was still young, quite naive.
Yeah.
So I didn't. I was going to get the surgeon who wanted to do the operation. Was quite a high up surgeon, and surgeons are no different to anything else. If they've got like a sports personality who's in competitive sports and they can do the repair on them and get them back into competitive sports at a high level, that's what they want there. Because for the guy who wanted to do the operation was, do you ever remember a footballer called Pat Nevin?
Oh yeah, Pat Nevin. Yeah, played for Everton, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. But he had the same, very similar injury to what I had, and he did the repair on him, and he was back playing again.
All right.
But I just did not, at the time, I did not know. I just thought my leg's just going to go back to normal.
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't know what it was he was going to do. He said, well, we can take a ligament from like your hip and reattach it there, or we can put a synthetic one in and screw it in. And I thought, I didn't know what I was doing. So I just left it. And then once I left it, and then I kind of like drifted away from martial arts because the club had closed and there was only one other place really for me to go and train. And I didn't really, it wasn't me, it wasn't the same thing because it wasn't my teacher. So I kind of like lost interest with the injury. That sent me into a deep hole as well as the club closing. So, that I'd stepped away from it for a number of years. And I must admit, because like injury can do this type of thing to you. It can make you become depressed.
Yeah, no, I've been there.
I was heavily depressed, but I didn't know it.
Yeah.
But when you look back on it, you think, okay, that's what all of that was.
Yeah, definitely. I can understand that because I had a hip operation about 16 years ago, and I went into the surgeon's office, specialist office, and he told me what was going to happen. And I came out, I was in tears, and I didn't realize. I was very similar to you because once I had the operation, I went into a bit of a depression, and I didn't realize I was in it. I didn't realize I was in it because I was sort of thinking, I'm not going to be able to kick like I did. I'm not going to be able to teach. I couldn't do this and I couldn't do that. And it was very, very, very frustrating because normally I was the sort of guy I could, in my class, I could say, right, I want you to do this, and I could demonstrate it. I could show it, and then everyone do it. But all of a sudden, there was things that I wasn't going to be able to do. I really found that tough.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. There's what's the name that I learned later on, because I went to when I went into uni, about the chronology of injury and like how all of these things, what takes place, because it's kind of like a bereavement. It is a serious loss because you're losing like a part of yourself.
Yeah.
That like made you feel strong, powerful, athletic, all of these type of things. But when that goes, then you kind of like you're challenging yourself. Oh shit, I can't do this no more. Can't do that no more.
Yeah.
Very much stuff like that. If you're doing like traveling forward, like doing like a charge, I couldn't really do that because my joints are just like you just feel it open right up, and then it starts. That the muscle, the vastus medialis, you could feel that like almost tearing off the bone. So I couldn't do it. Oh man, it was awful.
Yeah. So what obviously you came back to martial arts. Did you get it fixed or
no, that's it. It's always just the way it is. Right. I learned to live with it.
Yeah.
And then then after that, I needed something because I'm a physical sort of person, so I needed something. So what I then started to do, I need to then get back to training, do something.
Yeah.
What I chose because I couldn't run, because I really couldn't do like all my kicks and all that type of stuff. I don't know. I probably could have just maneuvered a little bit, but learn to kick with your left leg, lad. But I couldn't be bothered with all of that. So I started doing swimming.
Oh, okay.
I love water, so I used to go and I used to swim a mile a day.
Yeah,
and there's no stress on my knees.
Yeah,
all of that was good. But I mean, my family have problems with the knees anyway because we're like bow-legged and pigeon-toed. Bad combination.
Yeah.
So that's what I spent a lot of time doing, a lot of swimming, and then I met a friend and said, "Oh, come to like do some weights," because I didn't even know like how anything about muscles or anything like that, or weight training techniques. So it took me to a place called a very famous gym in Liverpool, Vicks. Took me. That was like going back to karate. It really was. back to the dojo because there was like a brotherhood inside there as well. There was
Mm.
like a community that I could relate to.
Yeah.
Started doing like a weight training as opposed to bodybuilding.
Mm.
That or them types of things, or that all helped me as well to like regain confidence in me, who I am.
Mm. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
me.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting because you find a way, don't you? I mean, my thing was I wanted to do something almost to prove to myself that I could still do physical stuff.
Yeah.
And I actually cycled Land's End to John O'Groats in 2011.
Wow.
And against against the supervision of my specialist who said don't do it. But do you know what? When I finished that, I felt 100 foot tall,
Yeah.
just as I could do something that was really quite tough.
You need that. You need that challenge.
Yeah.
You have to try to have like that. There's an external challenge, but you need an intrinsic challenge as well.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I think you do, and I think the thing is particularly in martial arts, you know, you build up and you train and you build up this strong mindset. And I, you know, I often said to people because people said, oh, you know, when I had my operation, and I said the only trouble with surgeons and doctors is they can't look into the mind of a person and see how strong that is, and the mind can overcome a lot of stuff. You know, even disabilities that you think, right, this person can't do that, but if the mind is strong, you can get through it.
It's true. Yeah, that is true enough. It's an uncharted land really inside it. Is it? Do you have like a psychologist and things like that who can look at certain things and come up with all kinds of theories, but you
Yeah,
know, it's a deep place, right? Like the mind itself, it kind of like what you say, it can go withstand a lot, and it can like overcome quite a lot of things that you think, oh my God, how did that happen? You
yeah,
know, when you say like, oh, you're never going to be able to like move your leg in that certain direction, and then the next thing you know, somebody's walking in there and saying, "What do you mean I couldn't move my leg like that? Look at this." And
yeah,
they're like, the doctors are like, "Oh shit."
yeah, yeah,
And we're, like what's happening inside in the brain, it's connected to the whole system.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Like what you're saying, it's what how you also as well can put your mind into doing whatever it is that you feel you need to do.
Mm, yeah, yeah. I think it's interesting. You know, we sort of scratch the surface on really on how strong the mind is, and I think also as well. You know, I don't know whether you feel this. I think as you know you start something like a martial art, and it seems all physical, but the older you get, the more you and wiser you get, the more you realize actually it's not just the physical side; it is that mindset and it's that spiritual side that really brings you through and keeps you going.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But who was it that some wise person anyway said that youth is wasted on the young?
Yes.
But I tell you, he's right, because when you kind of like look back and you think to yourself, "Oh my God, the things that I could have done."
Yeah, I think it's probably one of those Greek philosophers said that. They said a lot of good things.
I think it was no, you know what? I've been making something up. I can't even think who it is at the top of me off the top of my head. But
Yeah.
that was like a point in my life. But then when I started retraining again, and not just martial arts, but when I started like doing physical activity, I felt much more better within myself.
Yeah.
If it's martial arts that you're doing, that is brilliant, because martial arts is a tool for life.
Mm.
It teaches you so many different life skills.
Yes,
But
yeah, it does.
also as well, whichever physical activity that you're involved in, stay involved in it, because it's important. You don't want to live a sedentary lifestyle. That's when you're going to have like physical problems and probably some psychological problems as well, because you're not pushing yourself.
Yeah.
Yourself.
Yeah. I read a good a good article recently, it was a couple of weeks ago, and it was talking about how people are looking for the elixir of life. But the elixir of life, really, they were saying, was actually your muscle and keeping that strong, which will does so much for you, particularly in later life. Having the strength to get up and sit down and move and whatever. And a lot of that is obviously built. A lot of the discipline for that is built very early on. So if you get into any of the youngsters listening to this, if you get into whether it be martial arts or any kind of physical discipline, you've got to keep it going.
Yeah, you've got to keep something going. That's the only way that you learn, because you have like 3 stages of any sort of discipline. You're kind of like a beginner, you have an intermediate, and then you have an advanced. So you have to like go through all of these and just keep on challenging yourself all the way through. Because we all start off and you think, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to understand this. But you do, eventually you do. But because it's just, you have to keep on pushing yourself through these little stages.
Yeah, and going. So, what are you still concentrating on the swimming? Is there other stuff that you do at the moment?
I still do weights, but now, oh my God, Ray, you won't believe, you really won't. Now, that I do spend like quite a lot of time like with Alfie. Do you know how long I've known Alfie for?
No, go for it.
I have no hazard a guess. Go on, throw a little figure.
I would say, okay, right, on your age, let me see, 40 years.
You're pretty close, but you need to be on another 20 years on that.
Oh, wow.
Really? I've known Alfie since he was 3.
Wow.
Our mothers and our fathers know each other.
Yes, yeah.
So I've known Alfie like it feels like 1,000 years. But anyway, that's kind of like what happened. We was doing after Old Sensei, I was running Colwell after he died. We was all kind of like together, and we decided to put on a few different things. We used to have a thing called. He used to have a thing called the Old Ways.
Okay.
Where she teaches a seminar with there's like X amount of different instructors, like 4 or 5 different instructors.
Yeah.
Myself, Alfie, Calvin. Do you know Calvin?
Yeah.
Calvin. Who else was doing it?
I don't know him personally, but I know who you're talking about, I should say.
And Harris, I think, as well used to do it. And there was one other person, but I can't think of his name at this particular time. We started like doing like these seminars. Then we broke away from that, and then we did a thing. What we're now doing a thing called the Peaceful Warriors. I don't know if Alfie's ever mentioned that to you.
I think I have seen that on some of his posts, actually. Yeah.
Well, there, what we do is we go off to into different areas, different dojos, like who are part of our associations, and we teach seminars, like an all-day, full day of Budo. So you'll have like myself, I'll do like nunchaku, which I'll tell you about the nunchaku stuff in a bit. Say Sensei Elaine, he'll do like power karate. Got Sensei Griffiths, what he'll do is jujutsu.
Yeah.
You got Sensei Lewis. He'll do like freestyle techniques of mat fighting techniques, and then you have Sensei Yakov. He'll do. I couldn't even describe what he's doing, but it's just murderous.
Yeah.
The techniques to Sensei Yakov are not as important as the mindset. He concentrates quite a lot on mindset. So a lot of, because his military base is geared around that. So we started teaching within that sort of thing. And then one time Alfie turns to me, and he's he can be brutal sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
Like nunchaku and stuff like that. And he goes, "Nunchaku's dead." And I went, "Oh, okay. You got to teach something else." So I said, "Okay, fair enough," which hurt my feelings. Because I love nunchaku.
Yeah. He did mention about the nunchucks and yourself. So I was going to ask you about that, but go on.
So we then started teaching other things. And then one time I thought, okay, I'm going to resurrect this nunchaku stuff. So I then started think of ways, how can we actually use the nunchaku, but instead of using it like traditional ways, because traditional ways you're doing like what you're doing kata, you're doing like flails like through the air, but you're not actually, or maybe hitting something, but you're not actually hitting each other because you obviously, because you can't, because of the weapon. It's just like, well, it's far too dangerous. So we looked at ways of how we can do that, and I looked on like the internet and what's available. So I saw there was something where they had like the like the play sort of things, play type things like them sort of things. So we got a pair of them, had a little mess around with them, didn't work as much. So I kind of like we made our own ones, and it was good. They worked. We had trying to think what when you do epay,
fencing.
Done.
Yeah.
Okay. So you couldn't. What's his name? You can't. Like if you get hit in the head, it's not going to cause you no damage.
Yeah.
You used to get like little tiny stings because if it hits you, it slaps you a little bit. And if in the winter it's kind of close. So we invited Alfie down, and we said, oh, come down, come and have a look a little, see what we're doing. So he came down and we was doing like all our fightings and things, and he sits in and he goes, "Do you know what?" He said, "That's a seminar in itself." What? Oh, duck with a capital F. I now know what that means. It means I like it. So you are going to be working your socks off to get that on the road, and so it's like from then it's grown and grown and grown and grown.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look on my webpage, on my Facebook page, you'll see like a lot more of what we're doing. It's difficult for me to explain.
I've seen some. I did have a look at it because he said, "Oh, have a look at the page because he's on there doing the nunchucks." But it looks pretty good.
Ray looks it. It's it's one of them things is that you have to have a go. If you have a go, do you remember when you was a kid and you just used to just do play fighting and you just like be fighting with the swords and all that type of stuff? You just it turns you back to that.
Yeah.
It's very challenging on your cardiovascular system.
Yes.
It really is. But the fun that you have when you're fighting again, it's good fun. We've just achieved our syllabus now. We've just like put out our first black belts.
Yes, yeah.
We've got world champions, European champions, British champions.
Yeah.
Got the full spectrum. So we're into our second full year of competitive events. But anybody who's interested and they wish to kind of like set up within their own clubs, contact us, contact me, not a problem. I will tell them how and what to do.
Yeah. But we'll put some information as well, because when we finish this, and if you send me information back, we'll put it in the show notes, and maybe people can take you up on that.
No, we do kind of like, we don't mind. Like we'll travel, we do seminars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The thing is that the combat nunchaku is what it's called. Now, if you look at, I don't want to I'm not disrespecting what other people are doing, but I will put any of my fighters up against anybody else's using their rules, and they use ours. The way that we use it, we have helmets, like a different type of helmet now, because we went through stages of living. Okay, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. That's not good enough, and we're kind of like with the helmets that we've got now. Do you know when they use for like Cali and stuff like that?
Yes, yeah.
We've got them type of helmets, brilliant. The nunchaku, we get them from the US. The round about 11, 12 inches long, and the foam is really good. The only thing, longevity, that's the difficulty with that. So what we do, like for our training and things like that, is we make our own. We get like piping from, for like taps and stuff like that, like
plumbing stuff,
waste paper, wastewater pipes, or them type of thing. We make on that, and they work perfect for your like everyday sparring, and also as well for when you're doing like a lot of pad work.
Because
they use the other ones that they're fairly expensive. The padding starts to go in it, so you don't want that. So we use these ones like instead, and they work wonders. They are actually pretty good, if I might say so myself. Design, but all of these types of things, like we've developed and learned over a period of 2 years. So we're really at quite a high stage now. Some of the guys, some of the techniques that they do, but like when they're on the mat, boy, it's incredible to watch. Very fast, very dynamic, and really they are so skillful. And when we sometimes like we're at tournaments and stuff like that, and you hear the sound of them, and it sounds like as though like somebody's being shot, but it's not. That's just the sound that it makes. And when people go, oh, well, doesn't it hurt when you get hit? Well, when somebody kicks a ball and hits you in the leg, it's no more than that. There is contact. Naturally, there has to be contact, but it's of a minimum. It's like people think like nunchaku, the wood. No, they're not. They're soft. But when it touches, you'll feel that little sting, but nothing more than that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, well, again, what we do is hopefully we can get some stuff in the show notes. If you've got any links to any videos that we can have a look at, we can put those in as well, which would be quite good. So perhaps we can talk about that. But no, that's really great. It's a good a good addition, and I think particularly that's a good thing about martial arts these days. There's a lot of for want of a better word, cross training, where you can do this, but you can dip your toe in here and you can do a little bit of this and do a little bit of that, but you still got your core martial art that you're learning, which is really. Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, most definitely. You need like the core basics. Everything you've got to have that foundation. I mean, when we start off, say like we're doing a combat nunchaku, we have basic sets where you practice these, and then once you kind of like learn and develop them, then you to like develop learn and develop your fighting. But if you're a good fighter, then a natural, you're going to have a crossover anyway of that like fighting mind mentality. But then you're just using it like in a different way, like with the nunchaku. But the nunchaku is all that they are. They're just an extension of your arm, nothing more.
Yeah, that's really, really great, Leo. I thank you very much for doing that. Like I said, I was going to ask you about that because Alfie was talking about it when I was speaking to him, and he said it's really, really good, and you've done really well with it.
It helps as well. I find like a lot of people, like such as yourself, like. If they have like knee problems, hip problems, where they can still step onto the mat with this, and they can still fulfill that like, because we've all still got that fire in us.
Yes, yeah.
It just doesn't go out. It might smolder. It'll just like be smoldering, but it's still there. You can still do it. You can still step out. I mean, I think we've had. I'm trying to think who's the oldest. Some people who are in the mid 60s have a little go.
Yeah.
Still going. And also as well, we don't just have like the older generation. We also have like a junior section. Junior section on like a lot more pads.
Yeah, sure.
The nunchaku is like a little bit lighter.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna come up your way at some point. I've said to Alfie that I need to come up for a visit at some point, so we'll have to sort of have a look and see what's going on. It's life's been a bit busy, but I am going to make it. I'm going to make it up there.
Okay. Well, hopefully I'll be around, Ray, when you're doing or one of our sessions are on, and you can come in and have a look.
Yeah, no, definitely will.
Amazed by
That'll be good. Well, hey, listen, we're coming towards the end of the podcast. It's a great way to finish that, to be honest, on a high on your passion with nunchucks. And like I said, if you can hang on after this, we'll have a little chat once we've finished.
Okay.
And we'll perhaps get some information to put in the show notes. And it just remains to say I want to thank you for taking the time to do this, for sharing your life story with us. And I hope you can continue to live that passion. I'm sure you will, in the best way possible. And I'm hoping that we will meet in person. That's my wish.
It was nice one, Ray. Yeah, I would say it has been an absolute pleasure, and it's not as scary as I probably made out to be, because I don't like. I wouldn't say like and things like that. It's not. I'm not happy of these sort of things. I always kind of think, well, why would anybody want to be interested in anything that I've got to say? Sometimes I get that sort of feeling. I'll feel like that. Don't be so stupid. People are interested in this thing. I said, well, okay, I'll go and do it then.
Well, thanks, Lee. Thank you very much as well to the Living Martial Arts podcast fan. I hope you enjoyed my fantastic chat with Lee Kwende. He's a lovely guy. I can see that in the way that he's passionate about what he does, and I'm sure he's affecting a lot of lives. So thank you very much for listening. As I said, have a look at the show notes. We'll get some stuff in there, and perhaps you can visit Lee's website or Facebook and maybe even have a go yourself. Thanks very much, and I'll catch you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.